So, really quick update. As you guys know, I got convicts in my tank recently, and for a while they were doing pretty fine until I noticed that some of my snails look a little bit different, look a little bit off. I don't know if they're moving or not. Well, I just witnessed one of my convicts going after one of the snails, nearly ripping him out, maybe, halfway out of shell. And that kind of irks me a little bit because my snails, they do a lot of justice in this tank that I have going on, my 75-gallon community tank, and I really don't want them messed with too much. So maybe I'm not feeding them enough, or they're just naturally inclined to, trying to pick at and eat snails. Maybe that's just what they do on a regular basis in the wild, and they're just hardwired for it. I'm still learning. I did notice before my Grammy would pick at the back of the snails on the shell. I assumed it was just to get the algae off. I never seen them full blown, try to rip a snail out of a shell. And then at first, I sat down, I watched my tank after I got off work like I do every day. And I noticed, okay, convict's picking at the snail. Oh, whatever, maybe just pick some algae off his back. Out of nowhere, boom! Goes for the kill, rips snail halfway out the shell. Snail must be dead by now because he's not moving. The fleshy parts are not receding back into the shell. So after that, the dinosaur burster comes along, dragonfish, whatever you want to call him, comes along, rips a huge chunk out of him, man. Huge chunk. And this is like one of those little, like, apple snails. So he's a good size for being a snail. So there's definitely chunks that he's able to rip out. So he rips out a chunk, swims away, and then the gourami comes in and starts nipping at him and, doing a whole pit bull thing, shaking his head, trying to get a piece off. So the convicts at this point in time have turned out to be a little bit of a bad influence on the rest of my tank because none of this happened before the convicts came along. Maybe it would have happened later on in the future, I'm not sure, but until this point, the newest fish that I have in there, the convicts, are the ones who started this trend of killing off nearly all my snails. Let me keep myself censored because it kind of irks me a little bit. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to feed them a beef heart, one of those frozen beef hearts you get in the big packs, and see if they pay any attention to it, because clearly they are interested in, one solid block of food. Well, if that's what they're interested in, what better to offer them than a solid block of beef heart? So, see there, you see the gourami. See that little black thing down there? That's one of the snails. That's the snail in question that I was talking about. One of the convicts behind the gourami. Got the beef heart in that little cup up there thawing out. It's about ready now. So, we'll dump that thing in there and see what happens. I just gotta set myself up over here. Give me 1 second while you enjoy the beautiful view of my fishy tank. Alright, so beef heart. See, everybody's anxiously waiting. They know me by now. They associate me with food, so let's see what happens. Oh, let's get that out of there. And the beef heart's down here. So let's see if any of them find it. If they don't, I gotta break out the tweezers. Which I might have to do. Alright, let me find the tweezers. somewhat forget where I put them. Maybe I put them. Oh, there they are. Put them in the kitchen. That makes sense. Okay. Oh well, come to find out, looks like somebody found it. If that dinosaur brusher gets to it, it's game over. He's so blind he can't find anything. Oh, there it goes. Oh, look at him. Bit off a little bit more than he could chew, huh? Even the Cory catfish is trying to get in on it. Look at him. That's kind of cool. So it seems like the mollies, the one molly, the platies, the tetras, the denios, none of the other fish seem to be in on it because they're not strictly carnivorous like that. But the carnivorous fish are definitely going at that block, and they're trying to take chunks with them. What I'm interested to see is if the gourami is actually going to go after that, what's left of that block, instead of just trying to scavenge what's floating around. But yep, there, see that dinosaur fish basically killed half that freaking thing. And might as well point out, that's a dead snail. Pretty sure that's a dead snail too. I noticed that after I noticed this one being ripped to shreds, which was not very exciting for me, seeing as I love my snails. I had my girlfriend Caitlin relocate, some of them into her, I forget if it's 5 or 10 gallon tank, but she has those like glow-in-the-dark fish in a small tank, under the black light. So I had her move at least 2 of them into hers. Oh well, there go the platies. Platies are going for it. And there's a tetra. Tetra got it. And it looks like, there's some leftovers over here. It's hard to see, I'm sorry, I know. I'm trying to make this on my phone. I don't have a high quality camera yet. Eventually, I hope I will, but for now, this is what I'm working with. So, the platies are going after the leftovers. The neon, well, no, sorry, not neon. But the black turret tetras are going after the leftovers. The gourami's still just hanging out, sucking stuff up. And now the gourami's going after it himself. The last one to get it on the feast. And that's surprising. I mean, he's pretty big. I would think he would be, after the convicts and the dinosaur fish would come the gourami, but in, this first feeding scenario of a beef heart, the gourami came in last. But he's still getting a good amount of food. He's still getting his fill. So that 1 cube of beef heart definitely will do a good amount of justice for your tank. These dianos, however, I haven't been keeping an eye on them, so I'm not sure how much they've had. I'm still going to supplement the tank with some flakes and a couple pellets just to make sure these guys are eating good too. Of course, I got a couple fry over here I got to worry about, so of course I'm going to feed them something different. Well, so yeah, this is my first, I guess, negative experience with convict cichlids. Tune in next time. Justino Aquamador.